A very good afternoon and welcome to the NOSWEAT Podcast. We've got an amazing podcast lined up for you this afternoon. I've got such amazing guests and I'm going to introduce you to them shortly. My name is Themba Madima. I'll be your host for the day and I'm joined by a phenomenal female sprint star in South Africa. She goes by the name of Boipelo Tshemese. She has already won a title at the Classic Shootout. This year again, coming out fresh, coming out guns blazing. Welcome, Boipelo.
Thank you so much, Themba, for having me. It's great to be here.
Amazing. And also to your left, my right, we've got a phenomenal coach. He is a coach that is known throughout South Africa, known also throughout the world. If Neo from the Matrix had an accomplice to have by his side, would have Coach Hennie Kriel right next to him over there. Coach Hennie, you've done it all. You've produced the SA records. You've produced some big medals, global as well. Welcome, and always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to come, and thank you for the invite. I know why you call it no sweat. I'm sweating sitting here.
You know, you told me something interesting about the Matrix. I said if Neo needed, an accomplice, somebody to coach him, you would be the man right there saying, Neo, this is how you dodge the bullet. Watch, drop your shoulder, watch your form, get down. Where does your link or connection to the Matrix come from?
Yeah, I spent some time in professional rugby, 5 years with the Bulls. And in a team sport, everyone gets a nickname. And the players start to call me the agent. And I had no idea. I haven't seen the movie. But as time goes on and I say this to people, and some agree that's a good nickname for me.
Absolutely. You definitely a character on the track, as well as what you've done on the athletics and sports scene. You've always contributed to making it great. So welcome. I'm looking forward to this one. It is pre-season. Happy New Year. Most of you are back in Pretoria. Boipelo, have you been working off season?
I have. So we didn't practically have an off season, but yeah, we've been working hard.
Coach, I know you don't believe in rest.
No, we actually do believe in rest. You have to rest at the right time.
Okay.
I also don't like the word off-season. There's never an off-season. But talking about rest, people have to understand rest is half your training program. If you don't rest, you cannot do the other half. So there's nothing wrong with rest, but rest should come at the right time.
Come at the right time, at the right place. I hope so as well. And that's important. This podcast this afternoon, it's all about the Simbine Classic Shootout 2023, bringing something fresh, totally different. We'll get into it with regards to the event dates. We'll get into it with regards to what events you can expect this year. It's always a surprise this year. Always have to throw something in there for those who are, wondering what events will we see this year. So we've got a different format, which is going to be interesting to see as well. So we'll touch on all of that. But let's just start from the beginning. Classic Shootout. Boipelo, this year is the Simbine Classic Shootout. The big man has decided he wants to put his name behind it. What is it that you love about the Classic Shootout?
I would say for me, it's the atmosphere. I mean, the support, the crowd, it's just so remarkable seeing everybody there. Because at the end of the day, seeing people's faces, because at the end of the day, you're also competing, you're doing what you love, and seeing people coming to support you, it's remarkable. And again, running the odd events, we don't have that, so it gives us another platform to also showcase and get the feel of these odd events that have been presented for us. So it's a quite exciting event, so for me it's great.
Awesome. Coach, obviously part of your planning when you're putting your combos, and you have to bring the things in to make sure that everything works out perfectly for the season. You've always supported these competitions. How does this come into play, when it comes to you planning and preparing for your season?
Yeah, interesting to hear what Boipelo say, and she immediately refers to the atmosphere. We should never forget that sport, athletics, is in the entertainment business. If people like entertainment, they will come, and that's one of the reasons we like coming to do the Classic Shootout. For me, it's nice to start your season with something different, just to break the tension. So in that way, I really like it, and it's also some form of test. For the 100-meter guys to see if the first 60 meters is in place, the 150 something between the 60 and the 200, I mean the 100 and the 200, and then some of them brave enough to try the 300. And as you know, by this time, the 200-meter athletes, they surprise in the 300. So it shows a little bit of their strength endurance.
Absolutely.
The 300, yeah.
I mean, strength endurance, we've seen, I mean, Clarence Munyai, one of your former athletes as well, he's only athlete to win 3 back-to-back, shootouts, and he did it in the 300, one of the toughest. He's had the 400-meter athletes come out, he's had the 200-meter athletes come out, the hurdlers have tried, and it's such an interesting event because you're always wondering, how far can a 200-meter runner go?
So very interesting, the time I worked with Clarence. Clarence is the current world junior record holder in 300 meters. And I many times refer to that when I do clinics and workshops, because people tend to think over distance training is the secret. At the time that he broke that record, and he did it in the same race when Wade broke the senior record.
Correct.
So South Africa had 2 world record breakers in one race. But obviously with Wade being the senior and breaking the senior world record took most of the shine of the race. But at the time, I don't think Clarence hasn't done any 300 in training. He might have done 250 once or twice. 220s, quite a lot of 180s, and he broke the world record. So I use that many times, and as we know, Clarence is an exceptional athlete.
Fantastic indeed. You don't believe in over distance training, coach. You've got your own formulas. Maybe we'll touch in a bit of those secrets so that maybe I can convince my coach not to ever take me over distance again. But as you said, the events, the atmosphere of this event, Boipelo, you've been there. You've been part of it at a school meeting. This one, obviously, we've got fantastic hosts. Word School, Help Makar, they've played a fantastic role in making sure that the events, take place at their big competition, the Goa Liga. Kuro coming in this year as well, saying, listen, we want to also make sure we add to the culture and the tradition of not only the Simbine Classic Shootout, but also to athletics in South Africa. Kuro, Hazeldean, being one of the host schools as well in this TUT, the University, Tshwane University of Technology also, putting up their hand to want to be involved in this competitions. And that's the beauty of it. I think that's what makes South African athletics, especially when it comes to this time of the year, so exciting, because it's about getting the kids involved in the sport. It's about the seniors showcasing their talent and, parading the atmosphere. Boipelo, you've stood on those blocks, warm up. Tell us about it.
Well, it's never an easy one because everyone is under pressure. But at the end of the day, you know what you need to do. And standing there, obviously, it's like, the goal is to run fast. So starting there, as an athlete would say, it is quite stressful. But at the end of the day, you need to put that stress aside and do what you need to do at the end of the day.
Do what you need to do at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Deliver.
Yeah.
Like a postman.
Yes,
so
you would say so.
You've delivered. You ran the 60 meter.
Yes.
Run us through that the event where you took that title. Very good race that it was at UJ, if I'm not mistaken. Reimser.
I'm not too sure.
You were running the 60 meter at that competition there. Just tell us, how was the race and how did you find that competition?
It was really great. How I found the competition? Let me think about it because it's been like a year now. What would I say? I really enjoyed it. However, like I always say, I would like to see more women racing because we don't have a lot of that in our sports or in the field. So for me, regardless of how I'm feeling, but if we can, because remember, sports brings us together. It's the unity. So for me, if I see more women, participating, it's going to be fruitful because, again, talent needs to be shown at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Touching on a very important point or important, place where we need to focus on in South African athletics there, Coach Hennie. I know you've got a passion for that.
Yeah, for sure. The talent is there's no doubt. And I just want to mention with Reimser the last time. We have our challenges, and but I can see the movement in sprinting specifically. more opportunity, and this is also opportunity. The challenge and the nice thing about the 60 meters, the margin of error is so small. It's a total focus and explosion, and just stay in there. And I can remember, I think it was 2 years ago, when Gift came back from a long injury. He was hesitant, and I told him he's ready, and he went for the 60 meter. I think it was in Boksburg, and he had a great race, and it gave him confidence. That was 2021, and after that he marched on, and he reached the semi-finals of Olympic Games, and it started with that 60 meters.
Absolutely. I remember speaking to Gift before that race. Kept coming from injuries. Confidence wasn't too good. He already has, shoulders that are leaning forward, but it was just a bit more. The chin was a bit lower. And we took a video. I said, Gift, let's take a video. People want to see. They're excited you're back. And when we posted it on, just before, this is weeks before the first shootout, and everybody was just, Gift, you're back, welcome. And as you said, from running that 60 where you got that victory, the confidence he was able to bring all the way to Olympic Games semi-final. I mean, that's exactly what these competitions are. I think it puts you in a place where it's not high pressure in that it's odd events, nobody's going to criticize you for your odd events personal best. But if you do it and you deliver, you leave there with a bit of a spring in your step.
You touch on something interesting. You said, and that's what we do. I discuss with the athletes, and I want to put it out here. People don't believe me. I never tell athletes when to compete. I will tell them what I think is best, and we sit down, and it ends the athlete's decision. But sometimes you say, sitting here now and discussing the race, and said, it's not that pressure. But I know one thing. Once in the blocks, every race is pressure. You might be fine when you put out the season and say that and that event's not going to be that important, but once in the blocks, it's important.
Absolutely, it's important. I mean, if we get down to over the next few days, we'll be introducing some of the athletes that will be running in this, and then you will see all of a sudden it gets important when you've got some solid runners next to you on your shoulder. We had a back chat 2 nights back, and Simbine saying, hey, guys, add me 60 meter, each and every one. I'll be there. 3 leg series this year. So we'll get into those dates. But as I said, Coach, it's not serious until it's serious. And once you're in those blocks, it's serious.
Yeah, that's true.
So just looking at some of the dates, we've got 3 legs of this Simbine Classic Shootout. The first one will be on the 4th of February 2023 this year. The 4th will be there. It's just a few weeks away. And in that event, the items you can look out for, we mentioned the 60 meters for men and women. That will be there. 60 meters will be doing rounds. So there will be a heat as well as a final, just to get some of the athletes want to get a feel of that. Indoor season in Europe now, and the athletes are getting sharp. They're not holding back at the moment. When the season starts, it starts. I wish we had an indoor track, Hennie, but we'll touch that. I've got that. We'll touch on that shortly. We also have the 1,000 meter. So we're catering for the distance runners as well, male and female 1,000 meter. And then on the 15th of February, make sure, Hennie, don't make it on the 14th, Valentine's Day. You need to spend time with somebody special in your life. I don't want to say anything, but I know you've got some time that you need to spend.
Every day is special for me. I don't need a day to be special.
Your athletes do, Coach. That's why we thought about them. We made sure that, people must do what they need to do, because the love that they're going to show on the 14th, we don't need that much of it on the 15th. 15th is war. So that will be on the 15th. The events to look out for on that one, we've got the 600 meter. Always, we call it the blue ribbon event. That's the one we started off with. I'll take you down memory lane as well in a short bit. 600 meter is making its way back for the 11th year running. We've got the 150 meter. An exciting race. We've seen the national record being equaled in this one when Simbine ran that fast time. We've got the 60 meter again. I said 60 meter this year, indoor season. People are getting prepared. It's just a matter of which one do I run? Do I run all of them? Akani says he's doing all of them. We'll see what the rest of the other athletes will do. On the 18th of February, we've got the final one. This is the final. It's the big one. All of them are big, but I think it's always nice to end off strong. We've got the 60 meter again over there in that event. Then we've got the 300 meter. You can't leave it out, coach. I saw you were nervous, wondering, is it there or not? It's there. We also have the 1,000 meter once more. So that's it. 14, 15, and 18 February. Those are your dates, coach. Tell us about this, the events, as well as the format of having rounds for the 60s.
Yeah, I just want to ask, the 60 meters heats, is that only going for the men or the women as well?
That is correct, for the men.
Okay. I had it that way. Something interesting popped in my mind. We referred, when we talk about the 300 and the 200 guys doing quite well. I now recall that at the time I also coached Randy Digali, a 400 guy, and if I'm not mistaken, he won the 600 twice. And the 1 year quite easily from a 400 program. Yeah, so the format, yeah, so it's a great format. And it's the events that you've been putting up until now, Backtrack. For me, normally, I wait and I see what you put on the table and we adapt to that. It's very important to make sure that what's being expected on the day and the events and the athletes need to come prepared for that. So the format is brilliant and it's being shown for 10 years now.
Absolutely. Boipelo?
Definitely. I don't want to coach as well. It's a remarkable event, as I said, because such events, as well, you guys said, it gives you a confident booster. So if you win one of those races, it's like, oh, I'm good to go now. Okay. So it kind of gives you that little bit of notch of saying, listen, I'm ready to turn up. So, yeah.
Ready to turn up. I don't know, coach. You know these terms, turn up.
Turn up.
What are the turning up, coach? Is it the volume? Is it the pressure?
Yeah, you see, no good talking to me about that. I wake up in the morning ready, and many times they ask me, coach, are you ready? I was born ready. I don't have to wait for somebody to ask me if I'm ready.
Born ready. We're going to be ready. 4th of February, I hope the athletes will come ready because it's going to be a humdinger. We talked about the indoor track. Indoor athletics, it's such an amazing concept, especially in Europe. They use it very well, coach.
Yeah, we have to understand why. It's because of the winters in Europe. So our weather, especially Pretoria, I've traveled the world. I've been, I think, to 44 countries in the world.
Sheesh.
Pretoria's got the best weather in the world.
Come on.
Believe me.
Tell them, coach.
So we don't really, weather-wise, it's always nice to have the facility. But South Africa is so well known for outdoor living. So we don't really need that indoor facilities.
Well said. We don't need the indoor facilities. But just looking at indoor track, and you said it, they use it mainly because of winter in Europe at the time. And obviously to run outside in the snow, virtually impossible for those who want to compete. And indoor season coming up with indoor champs and so on. How do the athletes prepare when it comes to those type of events?
Because we should actually have more athletes competing in the world indoors regularly because it's in our season. Our athletes are prepared at that time to compete. If I'm not mistaken, the indoor, as I have it currently, the indoor world championships has been cancelled because it's in China and COVID is already a problem there again. But it's a huge experience. I had a couple of athletes over the last couple of years that went to Europe for indoor, and they always tell you the experience. It's cold outside, it's snowing outside, and you go indoors, and it's nice and in the indoor center. So it's something we don't know, but it is a remarkable experience. And if any athletes have the opportunity, go and experience that because it adds to your experience as a coach. Especially going to the 400 and longer distances, the track's only 200 meters. It's different, yeah.
Different indeed. I mean, even if you look at the slanting, it's like running uphill, downhill. But definitely, I'm sure that's one of those that every athlete would like to experience sometime in their career. And just talking about the venue, you mentioned Pretoria definitely having some of the best, or one of the best weather in the world. I would also say, I would vouch for you, coach. I really like the weather in Pretoria. It's hot. If you want to do high intensity work, whether it's winter or summer, it's perfect. And all three of these competitions will be hosted at Pilditch Stadium. And, what better place to go? Pilditch, I mean, it's got such a strong history for track and field. I know you can pull out a few international races. I'll let you wait a bit, coach. Boipelo, talking about Pilditch, memories that you have of running at Piltich? Have you stepped on?
No, funny enough, it's going to be my first time. I've never ran in Piltich Stadium, so I think I'm so excited. Apparently it's been renewed.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward racing there as well. So,
It has been renewed. Athletics Gauteng North, the home of, they call it the home of champions, right? AGN?
Yeah, for sure, for the right reasons.
For the right reasons, indeed. And Piltich Stadium, Coach Hennie, if you think of memories that you have from the stadium, many.
I've competed myself there. Piltich Stadium was the first synthetic track in Africa, if I'm not mistaken, in 1971. So it's totally different, looks totally different today than those days. I've trained there many times, I've competed there many times, so for me it's always a sort of an emotional visit to go to Piltich, close to my heart. And let's see how the new surface is going to react, because it took us I think 2 years, but we're back at Piltich, and I'm excited to see. Hopefully the surface is fast enough for the sprinters, and we'll see some fast times.
I think it's going to be fast, Coach. The work that has been put in there, I mean, the beautiful blue, it looks like once the track changes that color to blue, you saw deer tux, it was red, it ran fast, nothing wrong with it, It turned into blue and then things changed. All of a sudden, things just changed.
You see, blue is the color, it's the fast color.
Blue is the color.
Yeah.
Now at Piltich, track has changed, it's blue, so I'm ready to see how this track will perform. Absolutely.
So for me, I like any color as long as it's blue,
Can I ask which team do you support for rugby? It's obvious.
Yeah, no, for us, I grew up with rugby. Rugby was my favorite sport as a kid, and as a youngster, we haven't had TV and stuff like that. I saw a picture of the Blue Bulls called Northern Transvaal in those days, and I fell in love with them, and then worked there for 5 years later. Amazing period of my life. So yeah, the Blue Bulls is my team.
So it looks like blue is your color of choice. Definitely there, Coach. And I mean, if you just look at when you just look at the history of the shootout, just starting from where you started. Initially, one event, one race, men's 600-meter race. Goes off. We have the likes of Offensive Magawane. He was doing well Olympics. I mean, I think he's one of the most underrated relay runner, 4x4 relay runners in South Africa. I mean,
I agree with that.
Thank you very much, Coach. When it comes to medals and achievements in relay, I don't think...
The Dago World Championships, all 4 athletes were awesome.
Absolutely.
But he had the second leg, the cut-in leg, and he stayed in the outside, and he opened the gap. We came second at the end, but he was awesome in that race.
Amazing. Silver at the World Champs. We need to deliver more of those. I feel like there's so many more medals at World Champs for South Africa. 4x1 is one of those, and 4x4 we can also do it. So let's see. But I do believe that something is starting, something is brewing, and events such as the Simbine Classic Shootout, it's one of those events where you find rivals, people that are going to be racing against each other. We've got some international athletes. We had athletes from Norway who came in last year. Mozambique, I'm thinking of athletes from Namibia, athletes from Zimbabwe, athletes from Botswana, they're always here. And we've had a lot of internationals over the years. Ethiopia has been here. We had athletes from pretty much Qatar. We had athletes from Qatar. And that list, I don't know, I should have actually made a list of all the countries who could have been here for a very long time. But they always also make sure that they come here. And from the 600, we moved on to 2 events where we had the male and female 600-meter. Wenda Nell coming through. She held the record for a long time, and then it grew into 1,000-meter, 150. We've done the 300-meter, 200-meter hurdles was also involved at some point. 2,000-meter. It's just grown and grown, and I think there's so much room for improvement. That's why every year when we sit and decide what events we're gonna do, it's always like, what can we do this year? We've done 1,000-meter where you had athletes running in 2 bundles. So it was 2 races that never combined until
I missed that one.
You missed that one. That's a beauty. Until they got into the home straight. And then all of a sudden you see who's in the lead. I mean, I think that's what it's all about. Just bringing that atmosphere.
You see entertainment.
Yes. Something
Entertainment,
different.
yeah.
Plain and simple, it's entertainment, and it's all about just showcasing SA's top athletes. The reason or the purpose of the Classic Shootout was to have a bridge where you've got the best SA athletes, the best athletes from wherever, welcome to come and compete at school events where the school kids are running on the same track, nothing different. Many occasions, the school kids getting a lane to run against the senior athletes and to feel what is it like to run against Akani? What is it like as a high school athlete to run against any of the top athletes? The likes of your youngsters have been there many times, Coach Hennie. And that's the beauty of it. It's just about, let's celebrate athletics. It's one of the best sports in the world, and we need to continue to grow it.
I've said it on a previous occasions. I have to compliment Backtrack, the contribution you guys give to athletics and be part of the build out of athletics in South Africa is just commendable. So thank you again, Backtrack.
No, it's always a pleasure. I mean, where can we be? What can we do without the athletes and the coaches? Always getting 100% support from the athletes and the coaches. If they don't message us, they usually message us before we message them. But talking to the coaches as well as the athletes, it's always great to see the response. And I mean, that's what we want to do: create a community in South African athletics where there is everybody just coming together and saying, how do we make athletics better? How do we
A question from my side,
yes,
Themba, will the races be live online?
Of course, they'll be broadcasted live. This will be going on SuperSport schools where the people will be able to watch it as it happens.
Great.
So that's definitely going to be happening as well. So yeah, you can have a look
Awesome.
out. It's going to be an amazing stream, and you can watch all these events live on that platform as well. So look out.
Awesome.
And we're going to bring it to a close in a short bit. I know we've... time has flown, huh? It's already 27 minutes in.
Yeah.
And I see you've got more to say, so I'll have to put a break on you a bit, Coach.
You see, we have two sprinters here, so we're going to move fast.
We've got to move fast. Just a recap on those dates. 4th of February, we've got the 1,000 meter as well as the 60 meter. 15th of February, day after Valentine's, I must reiterate, we again have the 600 meter, the 60 meters back, as well as the 150. And then on the 18th of February, we've got the 1,000 meter, as well as the 300 and the 60. So it's a festival. Look out. Make sure to be there. A message, Coach, to those who are probably sitting at home, those who might not know how to get involved in athletics. They want to start. Where do I start, Coach? I want to run. I think I can run. I don't know. Maybe he comes then he can't run, but he's got the passion and he's got energy and fire in his heart. Where does this athlete start to a place where he finds himself in a lineup at a Simbine Classic Shootout?
Well, first of all, our system in South Africa, the school system, is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
So start at your school. That's where you always start. So I've been, as I said, traveling the world. In Europe, it's a big problem where they're only club-driven. You have to go to a club. Where in South Africa, we're so lucky that at school, we've got coaches there. If you're young, if you're still in school, start at your school. Schools have got coaches, and from there start to develop. If you're already out of school, club. You need to join a club. I see every day here, we are involved with tax athletics. A lot of athletes every afternoon at the track. TUT is a club growing. You mentioned, I'm glad to hear one of the events going to be sponsored by Kuru Hazeldean. It's a school that's putting a lot of effort into athletics now, and they want to run with the big dog. So thank you for them stepping up and also getting involved. Yeah, so get yourself to a club. There's coaches there, and start training.
Absolutely. I mean, the role that the schools play, shout out to the schools. We did mention Kuro Hazeldean, Kuro Sport as well. Just being involved and making sure that things happen at these meets. Boipelo, female athletes, sprinters, whatever event, distance throwers, we need more and more of them. What message do you have for those athletes?
Set goals and always know why you are doing it, because if you know your why, then obviously the sport is going to be more fruitful and more recurring. So know your why and stay blessed.
Stay blessed, know your why. Sounds like Hennie Kriel Coach, it sounded like it's something that you've instilled in her mind, know your why. And I mean, it's important.
No, I think she just picked it up. The golden circle. Why in the middle? Start with why.
Indeed. And obviously, this event is going to be brought to you by Backtrack. So, as to answer your question, we're going to be streaming it. But Super Sport Schools coming through as well as where people can watch and get involved in seeing this event. So, remember those dates. Remember the venue, Pilditch. We've got the dates. We've got the items. Now it's just a matter of getting prepared, getting ready. And before you know it, we will be meeting again, Coach, at Pilditch Stadium. It will be packed. It will be exciting. And all the best to your athletes. All the best to you, Boipelo, as well.
Thank you.
And I believe it's going to be a humdinger.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank
invite.
you so
And all the
much.
best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining in. This was No Sweat, brought to you by Backtrack. We hope you enjoyed it. And hope you got the information you needed when it comes to the events that are coming up. The Simbine Classic Shootout 2023, the 11th year of the Classic Shootout. And what better way to celebrate track and field by bringing you these events again. So stay tuned for more updates. We will have more podcasts in the weeks to come as well. And just stay tuned. Social media, you can get all the information you need on social media. Just go to Backtrack Sports, Instagram, YouTube, etc., etc. Follow them as well. Grigora, that's your handle. Training group, you can follow Coach Hennie there. We also have Boipelo Tshemese, is also 14, something 14. Yeah. She's also on Instagram, so follow her. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you again in the next week or so. Take care. Thank you.